Happiness is not having what you want, but wanting what you have, says Rabbi Hyman Schachtel. The Dutch philosopher Baruch de Spinoza observed that when people say something is impossible, they've already decided that they don't want to do it. Though we may have a sincere wish to part with all our excess things, our sense of comfort from owning them may be stronger. However, we shouldn't rationalize this comfort by saying that because some item is full of memories, or it was given to us by a dear friend, that we simply can't let it go. Yes, such beautiful reasons may certainly exist, but often the key reason is that it would just be a lot of trouble to discard. Today, in this video, we will see when, why, and what things do the minimalist people start discarding in order to gain more freedom and well-being. According to the philosophy of minimalism, we tend to prefer the path of least resistance, whereas discarding something requires effort, and leaving it as is would definitely be the easy choice. But if we keep putting off the work of minimizing, we'll eventually end up surrounded by too much. So, if you really want to live as a minimalist, you need to make that desire of discarding unnecessary things your top priority. Scientifically speaking, there are limits to the capacity of our brain, our energy, and our time. For example, let's say you have multiple bank accounts and a lot of bank cards fattening up your wallet. While these were thin cards that didn't take up much physical space, they took up a lot of the memory you had available in your brain. How much did you have left in each account? When should you withdraw the funds in each? What if you lost a card and someone went ahead and used it? Just going to the police and reporting the loss would take up a lot of your time. Minimalism says, with our 50,000-year-old brain hardware, we don't have the room to waste time or energy on those extra cards, or really on any extra possessions. Therefore, minimalists believe it's wiser to clean up our system and delete all the unnecessary data so we're free to function efficiently and happily. The core philosophy of minimalism says, discard it if you have it for the sake of appearance. We often try to use objects to show our worth. So you might ask yourself if you have some of your items because you're really fond of them, or if it's possibly because you're using them to reflect qualities of yourself that you want to highlight. No doubt, we're all concerned with how others see us. It feels good to present ourselves as someone who enjoys a wonderful lifestyle surrounded by fancy kitchen items, beautiful furniture, a stylish car, and an expensive watch. Everyone goes the extra mile to project their intended image. The possessions that we truly enjoy, however, are the things we use often that don't require a lot of effort to maintain. And while the trappings of a successful lifestyle are tempting, we might want to consider letting go of the things we keep just to show off to others. Firstly, we need to discard the preconception that we can't discard our things. According to the human psychology, we have the ability to get rid of things, but we've given up trying because we've experienced a number of failures. And learned helplessness is a term used in psychology that can explain what's happening here. However, we're all able to part with our things. We just need to become aware of the reasons why we've been unable to do this so far. It isn't because of your nature. We're simply inexperienced. We aren't familiar with the habit of discarding our possessions, and we've gotten used to keeping them. Once, you simply learned the techniques and developed a habit of getting rid of excess. It will become easy for you. Discarding something takes skill. You won't wake up one morning and discover that you've suddenly become fluent in French if you've never even studied it. Similarly, You can't become a master at decluttering and parting overnight. Just like your skills in a foreign language will improve with practice, so will the act of getting rid of things. The more you do it, the less time it will take to decide, and the easier it will be to say goodbye to your things. It's actually a skill. According to the philosophy of minimalism, when you discard something, you gain more than you lose. Though it may seem like reducing your possessions means you're losing out on something, however, it's best to reset our minds on that point. As there are more things to gain from eliminating excess than we might imagine, such as time, space, freedom, and energy, for example. Discard something right now. Fumio Sasaki, the writer of book Goodbye Thing, says, discard something right now. He says, and I quote, maybe you're thinking that you'll declutter right after you finish the project you're working on right now. Or you might say to yourself that you'll get to it someday after things settle down. But we all know that as long as we're ruled by our dear old possessions, that day will never come. Fumio Sasaki adds, we think we can't become a minimalist until our lives have settled down, but it's actually the other way around. We won't be able to settle down until we're living a minimalist life. Minimalism says, all that time we so desperately need is within our grasp, but we have to create it ourselves by saying goodbye to all those extra things. That's why it's a good idea to start now. Make it a top priority. Discarding things may take some skill, but you don't have to perfect that skill before you start taking action. Daisuke Yosemi wrote in one of his books that discard any possessions that you can't discuss with passion. Yosemi asked, why do we own a certain product when there are so many wonderful things to choose from? There had to be a good reason why it had to be that particular item. According to him, an item chosen with passion represents perfection to us. Things we just happen to pick up, however, are easy candidates for disposal or replacement. Focusing on minimalism lifestyle, he says, we're bound to be less satisfied with all those other things we've unconsciously accumulated. According to the philosophy of simplicity, our lives are better when our belongings stir our passions. As long as we stick to owning things that we really love, we aren't likely to want more. Discarding memorabilia is not the same as discarding memories. Tatsuya Nakazaki, a graphic novelist known for his work Jimi Hen, is a person who is thorough when it comes to minimalism. He wrote in his book Motenai Otoko, The Man Who Doesn't Possess, and I quote, I don't think there's any relationship between our past and photographs, records, and diaries. Even if we were to throw away photos and records that are filled with memorable moments, the past continues to exist in our memories. I don't think it's such a big deal to throw away objects. It isn't as if we're throwing away our past. If we forget a certain memory, then it's probably something that's all right for us to forget, something unnecessary. All the important memories that we have inside us will naturally remain. End quote. It's important to understand that it's the memories that we can recall without the aid of objects that are truly important. And by getting rid of our extra possessions, we'll start to remember the important things from our past without being distracted by all that excessive memorabilia. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more empowering content. Thanks for watching.